Have you heard about the mysterious and massive bomber that seemed to come out of nowhere, striking fear and chaos wherever it went? People couldn't believe their eyes as this behemoth of a machine wreaked havoc and left us all wondering what on earth was going on. Seriously, who in their right mind would create something so bizarre and terrifying? Let's delve into this wild roller coaster ride of a story that had everyone on the edge of their seats and sent shivers down their spines. The Heinkel HE-177 Greif was to become the only long-range heavy bomber operated by the Luftwaffe during World War II. But it was an aircraft plagued by problems, earning the aircraft the nickname Luftwaffe's petrol lighter. The Allies became aware of the Greif on June 13, 1940, when a Luftwaffe prisoner provided a description of the bomber's features, but it wasn't until January 21, 1944, that one of the aircraft was shot down over England. In the 1930s, the Luftwaffe's Chief of Staff, Walther Weaver, championed development of a heavy bomber, believing that such a bomber would provide a decisive factor in a future European conflict. He demanded bombers capable of carrying a heavy load over distances sufficient to permit an assault on any part of the British Isles. Aircraft that, in view of the weakness of the German Kriegsmarine, could also harass British shipping far out in the Atlantic. Prototypes of two 4-engine heavy bombers, the Junkers Ju-89 and the Dornier Do-19, were built under his tutelage. But with Weaver's death in an airplane crash in 1936, the development of these aircraft was abandoned. Weaver's successors favored smaller, medium-range bombers. Despite Weaver's death, the Heinkel Flugzeugwerk received a specification for a new bomber from the Air Ministry in 1936. The aircraft was to be capable of carrying a 2,200-pound bomb load over a range of 3,100 miles at a maximum speed of 311 miles per hour, enabling it to outrun the fighters of the time. In June 1937, Heinkel received instructions to proceed with construction of a full-scale mock-up. Heinkel estimated that its aircraft could reach a top speed of 342 miles per hour at a ceiling of 18,050 feet and have loaded weight of 59,500 pounds. To achieve such performance, though, Heinkel's chief designer, Siegfried Gunter, believed several revolutionary features would have to be incorporated into the design, such as a pair of 1,973 horsepower engines. However, no engine at the time was that powerful. The aircraft's advanced features included coupled power plants with surface evaporation cooling, which was still unproven. The coupled power plants brought together two liquid-cooled engines mounted side by side in a single nacelle with a single gear casing connecting the two crankcases, the two crankshaft pinions driving a single air-screw shaft gear. The use of two engines of large output in a heavy bomber seemed sound aerodynamically. The coupled engine also avoided the delay associated with development of a new high-powered engine. The first prototypes were equipped with two counter-rotating Daimler-Benz DB606A power plants. In November 1937, Luftwaffe dive bombing expert Ernest Udet presented the Luftwaffe's dive bombing requirement to Ernest Heinkel, who responded that the aircraft would never be capable of achieving such performance. In spite of this, the HE-177 was required to be strengthened to support the stresses imposed by the pullout from a dive. In November 1939, the first HE-177 prototype was flown. It weighed 30,247 pounds when empty and 52,734 fully loaded. The flight terminated after only 12 minutes due to overheating engines. The fourth prototype, while undergoing stability tests over the Baltic, failed to recover from a shallow dive, crashing into the sea. The partially salvaged aircraft indicated that the crash was a result of a malfunctioning of the air-screw pitch gear. The fifth prototype incorporated a number of trial installations. Triple bomb bays were installed, and hand-operated 7.99mm machine guns were installed in the nose, in a turret immediately aft of the flight deck, in the nose of the ventral gondola, and in the tail. Early in 1941, during a simulated low-level attack, both of the prototype's power plants burst into flames, causing the aircraft to hit the ground and explode. The sixth prototype was the first equipped with production-type 2,700 horsepower DB606 engines. Maximum speed was 289 miles per hour, cruising speed 263 miles per hour, the service ceiling 22,966 feet, and range 3,417 miles. Although the bomber's teething problems were still largely unresolved by the spring of 1942, the Luftwaffe's commander-in-chief, Hermann Göring, demanded delivery of HE-177s to enable the Luftwaffe to destroy the British fleet. A total of 130 HE-177A1 bombers were manufactured by June 1943, but attempts to employ the aircraft operationally met with little success. 6 were used for testing with the Henschel HS-293 radio-controlled missile. The HE-177A1's forward fuselage housed a crew of 4, a pilot, bombardier, radio operator, and gunner. The tail housed a second gunner. The A1's maximum speed was 317 miles per hour, cruising speed 267 miles per hour, and it had a range of 3,480 miles. Henkel introduced an improved variant, the HE-177A3. This new version included an additional dorsal turret mounted midway between the trailing edge of the main plane and the leading edge of the tailplane. The turret contained 2 13mm guns. A new power plant consisted of a pair of DB605 engines that produced a maximum output of 2,950 horsepower. In April 1943, a variant of the A3 model was introduced with an improved electrical system, a modified gun mount in the nose of the ventral gondola, an upgraded cannon, and a redesigned tailgun position. This aircraft was the first to carry the HS-293 missile, with 2 mounted under its wings and another under the fuselage. In October 1943, HE-177 assets were organized to participate in Operation Steinbock, marking the debut of the HE-177 over Britain. The operation was prepared at the direct order of Adolf Hitler as a reprisal against London. Luftwaffe Supreme Command redeployed units from Italy to Russia as bombers. In addition to HE-177s, the core of the attack force, some 80 HE-111s, DO-217s, Ju-88s, and Ju-188s were rounded up. The London attacks began January 21, 1944. While Operation Steinbock would be regarded as a failure because of the decimation of the medium bombers, the HE-177s achieved some success. While only 4 of the HE-177s were lost to enemy action, serviceability was low because of mishaps. On another night, 8 of 13 HE-177s had to return to base due to overheating or engine fires. Of the remaining aircraft, only 4 reached the target. Operation Steinbock was called off at the beginning of March. In January 1944, 5 HE-177A5s were equipped with batteries of 33 obliquely mounted 210mm rocket tubes, likely derived from components of the Nebelwerfer infantry barrage rocket system to create the Grosser Storer, meant to break up and destroy the combat box formations of U.S. AAF daylight bombers. In the end, the HE-177's development resulted in too many variants. A total of 1,137 HE-177s were produced, including prototypes and pre-production aircraft, but only about 200 HE-177s became operational. More HE-177s were lost to engine fires than to combat. In the final assessment, it seemed that the HE-177 was deadlier to its crews than to its potential targets, although it was the only heavy German bomber to attain quantity production during the war. So there you have it, explorers. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more thrilling explorations. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the world around you.